Dear colleagues, welcome to this e-poster about Friends of Science and Medicine. I'm Associate Professor Ken Harvey, the current President of FSM. We were formed at the end of 2011 to emphasise the importance of basing Australian healthcare on scientifically sound research and establish scientific knowledge published in peer-reviewed journals of accepted standing. In 2019, we have more than 1,200 leading scientists, clinicians, lawyers and consumer advocates as supporters. I acknowledge 3 founding members of FSM who have stood down from the executive this year. These are our past President Emeritus, Professor John Dwyer, past Vice President Emeritus Professor Alistair McLennan, and past Treasurer Professor Marcella Costa. They have kindly agreed to continue their involvement as consultants. Professor Rob Morrison continues as Vice President, as does Loretta Marin as our Executive Officer, while Mel Vickers occupies a new position as our Compliance Officer. Please visit our website and social media pages. Valuing scientific rigour is especially important in an age where unsubstantiated health claims are rampant, often financially motivated, and scientific consensus is imbalanced by the views of extremists. One of our aims is to counter misinformation, such as anti-vax campaigns and the overhyping of medicines, medical devices and diagnostic tests. We are just as concerned about medical practitioners offering unproven and exploitative services, such as infusing intravenous vitamins and chelation therapy, as we are about chiropractors claiming to adjust subluxations, traditional Chinese medical practitioners claiming that acupuncture can treat infertility, or naturopaths advocating homeopathy. We submit complaints about misleading promotion that lacks an evidence-based, regrettably far too common given a regulatory system for complementary medicines that lacks pre-market evaluation and rarely penalises unethical advertising. We strongly support independent and disinterested scientific evaluations of alternative and/or complementary therapies, where the anecdotal evidence for benefit is strong and the underlying explanations are not incompatible with modern biological and physical sciences. A related problem lies in those alternative courses in health science that endorse dogma rather than critical appraisal of practice. Examples include homeopathy, energy medicine, kinesiology, chiropractic subluxation theory, craniosacral therapy, and more. We encourage tertiary institutions teaching health sciences and medicine to critically appraise therapeutic products and services as part of the courses that they offer. Complementary and alternative medicine provides a fertile field in which students can assess often outrageous claims and report regulatory breaches. See the related whack-a-mole poster for an innovative approach to evidence-based teaching and the assessment of complementary medicines. At FSM, we are also aware of and concerned by the discovery of cases where poor scientific methodology and fraudulent manipulation of the data have occurred within the medical scientific establishment. Some individual researchers and some of the major pharmaceutical companies have been involved in these unacceptable practices. We deplore such activities, but we recognise that there are already many and increasing checks and balances within medicine that aims to minimise such incidents. The same cannot be said for complementary and alternate medicine, which is why we concentrate our efforts in this area. Valid scientific and medical research must adhere to well-established and widely recognised best practice protocols. FSM wants all potential health treatments to be subjected to similar standards for validation. We also engage with regulators, such as the Australian Health Practitioners Regulation Agency, APRA, and their national boards, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, the ACCC, and the Therapeutic Goods Administration, the TGA. Regrettably, we have many registered health practitioners making false claims for their treatments, such as chiropractors claiming to treat autism, traditional Chinese medical practitioners advertising that they can diagnose serious diseases by examining the tongue and the pulse, and doctors offering chelation therapy to patients to avoid heart disease. We have APRA so hamstrung by legislation that its boards can tell registrants that they may not advertise non-evidence-based therapies, but they have no power to stop practitioners from providing such services to patients because they're unable to restrict practitioners' scope of practice. The reality is that business, rather than consumer interests, seem to prevent our regulators and politicians from strengthening consumer protection. We join with consumer and other groups in this ongoing battle.
Monash University microbiologist Dr. Ken Harvey is particularly irritated by what he sees on the so-called health shelves. Products like Vita gummies for kids who are fussy eaters.
They're really just an advertising gimmick to make parents think that this is useful. And what's more, they're sugar-filled and they rot kids' teeth. Not only have they got a gram of sugar in each Vita gummy, but they've also got fruit acid, and we know a combination of stickiness and sugar rots your teeth.
So you would argue not only are these not good for you, they're bad for you?
Yes.
Because when we think vitamins, we think, well, there's no harm. Is that part of the problem? The messaging is that anything that's natural or has all these, there's no harm.
Yeah, look, clearly, there are vitamin deficiency diseases, and people probably vaguely recall things like scurvy from absence of vitamin C. Captain Cook, with his lime juice, fixed that years and years ago. So you can get vitamin deficiencies, especially in the third world, very rare in Australia. But if you start putting green tea into multivitamins and weight loss products at numerous concentrations above what you could get in your cup of green tea, then you start to get, as we've seen with green tea, people with liver failure requiring liver transplants. So too little, not good. Too much, bad, and indeed association with cancer and other things with too many of certain vitamins. And this advertising really, it targets consumers' fears of not eating properly, life being too busy, when in doubt, take a pill. But there is no evidence that taking multivitamins is the cure for a bad diet.
It's estimated something like 8 million Australians take an array of vitamins, supplements, complementary medicines. Can they all be wrong?
Well, because that's what the industry says. Of course they can't be wrong. But in practice, there is a lot of reasons why both consumers and health professionals believe that a product works when it doesn't. First of all, there's the placebo effect, patient expectations, so that if they're told that this is going to be great for them and they believe it, they will feel that it does something. Secondly, there's the natural history of disease. Often people take something, if you've got arthritis, you'll take glucosamine because you get a flare-up. But the natural history of arthritis is exacerbations and remissions, and the fact that you take something like glucosamine when it flares up and you feel better at the end of it can mean simply that you've just got better with a remission, and that's why you need proper controlled clinical trials. And the other reasons why, again, we believe these things work when they don't is because there is things like confirmation bias. We remember what we think works. We forget what doesn't work, cognitive dissidence. And of course, the whole thing is driven by multi-million dollars of promotion, celebrities, misleading claims, etc. So it's not at all surprising that 8 million consumers take this stuff, even though it doesn't work.
Finally, we aim to be a credible source of information to the media, recognising their importance in countering misinformation and reporting and promoting good science. A recent publication analysed 76 news stories that featured Friends of Science and Medicine as a voice on complementary and alternate medicine in mainstream news media between December 2011 and April 2017. The author was critical of what she thought was FSM's negative view of CAM. However, she conceded that FSM clearly dominated as a voice that carries the credibility and legitimacy of biomedical expertise, apparently trusted by journalists as the new CAM watchdog. Speaking with a strong voice provided by our constituency, we aim to ensure that Australians have access to interventions and medicines backed by scientific evidence of clinical effectiveness. And with the efforts of hundreds of like-minded and knowledgeable friends and the media, we strive to increase public understanding of the importance of a good evidence base for any treatment they are offered. If you support our aims and activities, please visit our web and social media sites and consider becoming involved. Thank you.